Hello, this is Gary Marv, Glendale Community College. The screen capture is from my CIS 150 students. In this screen capture, I wanted to go through some pseudocode, some examples. This is something which is covered in section 2 of the textbook, and also something that you have to include as part of assignment 2. I've got, first of all, an example which I normally give in class during class time. Then the second example is one which is similar to the assignment. In fact, they're both very similar to the assignment, but more importantly, I'll show you how pseudocode is documented in a file. Now, remember, pseudocode is non-executable code. So what this is just simply a series of instructions that I would have my program execute. I would give this document to a programmer, and he would convert that to C#, C++, JavaScript, Python, and then we could execute the program on the computer. Since this is not a programming class, I'm not going to teach you how to set this up in a program, but I am going to teach you how to present the logic. Now, as with most systems, computers being a system, a program being a system, more or less, we're going to have an input section, a processing section, and an output section. This is going to be creating a mailing label, so the input section is going to grab the information necessary to print on a label, and then the output section is going to simply print that label out for us to the screen. So since pseudocode is non-standard, I could have a number of ways to document this information. Try to keep it consistent, however. I have the word prompt in there. All that means is create a display on my screen that says enter name, and then whatever I key in the keyboard, I'm going to store into a variable called name. And you can see I put some comments in here. These are Python comment symbols, but anything kind of goes. The most important thing is that the hash mark indicates this is an English explanation of what that line of instruction is going to do. Next, I'm going to prompt for the street, the city, the state, and the zip code. Now, I could have put, instead of the word prompt, display. There's any number of verbs that would work. All that's doing is telling the programmer is I want something to appear on the screen that's going to ask the user to key something in on the keyboard. Once that information is captured into variables, and remember, a variable is a name that refers to a location in memory that stores information, it's simply going to dump out all this information that we keyed with the keyboard out to the display. So I have name first, then the address, then city, comma, state, and then zip code, or therefore my mailing label. Okay? Pseudocode should always begin with the word start and end with exit or end. Another example, which is in the files section of Canvas, that says, examples similar to assignments. For assignment 2, this is the same kind of process here. I've got some comments up top which more or less document what I want to do. There's my start keyword. This is my input section, my processing section, and my output section. What this program does is simply ask the user for 2 numbers. It gets the first number, stores it in a number 1 variable, then displays it to the screen. Then it does it for a second number, displays that to the screen. Then it does a calculation that adds the 2 numbers together. Now notice that the way pseudocode works is you want to document it in a way similar to the way that it have to be implemented in a programming language, which means that the variable it's going to be stored in is on the left of the equal sign, and the calculations on the right side of the equal sign, which may be the reverse of how you learned addition in the primary grades. And then finally, the output section, I'm going to print the words total is, and next to that, indicated by the plus sign, I'm going to concatenate the total, or whatever the sum of those 2 numbers were. Now, if you look in the in Canvas, in the examples similar to assignments, you'll find in Chapter 2 this particular example. There's also an example in Python for this. And there's also an example using a flowchart. Hope that helps with number 2. And if you have any questions, let me know.